Victor, what's happening?
Nothing much, Ed.
Stormy just told us to take a deep breath. Did she ever say that?
She's like, take a deep breath, relax, not too much energy, hold it down. We're going to do that. How you been, Ed?
I've been great. Hey, Halloween's around the corner. If you haven't noticed in the chat, post your favorite candy bar up there. Maybe you got to go back in the day.
Mike Mandry likes Good and Plenty. I hated Good and Plenty. Dude, I hated Good and Plenty.
That's the licorice thing,
yeah.
Right? Oh, I agree with you.
I would fire him just on that. If you're out of this company, right? She was out there.
Butterfinger. Ooh, Butterfinger. I'm a fan now.
Robert Gillen says peanut butter and M&M's. All right, I'm with that. Reese's Sticks, Steve. Twix. San Diego says Twix. Reese's, Brian Sellers. Okay.
B. Sellers, the greatest name in sales.
It is. Likes Reese's, not bad at all.
There's a lot of camera shy folks on here, man.
What's the deal with Rob? Look at Rob Gillen. He looks like he's drowning. He's got his camera up to like his chin right here. It's like, hey, I can't breathe. Yeah, it's just a weird angle, dude. Fix that angle a little bit. It just doesn't look right.
There's Adam Humphrey. He's always in his office.
I really want to shave Tony Braden's just mustache. Just want to shave.
You like that mustache?
Just shave that sucker just like that.
Derek Dixon looks like he's just having a great time.
Robert, no last name, bald head. I see you, man. What's happening?
You just like his haircut.
Derek Dixon. What's up, Derek?
Jeff Mossinger's out there. Cool. West Coast in the
What's
house.
Sean's last name? I can't read. Is that Chacon? Chichon?
Where?
What is it, Matt? Did I get that totally wrong, Matt? Give me phonetics in here.
Sean,
give me the phonetics here, man. Come on.
There's Brian McDearman, the GOAT from Dallas. San Diego commercial in the house, Victor. You know I love when they all get together and do the broadcast.
I was in San Diego a couple of weeks ago.
What were you doing there?
I was speaking to Sean Sycone. Sycone? That's an interesting name.
Tony's crustache is epic.
Tony's crustache is epic. It is, man.
Okay, Humphrey, that's enough out of you. I see Kim Dew out there. We'll hear from her later.
Yeah, Gary Katz.
There's Miguel Diaz.
Some work done, man.
The leader out there in NorCal commercial. Who else you see?
Jerry Mandler's in the car. You know he's not doing any work. He's just hanging out and doing nothing.
No, he's sitting out in front of his appointment. He's going to go and close the deal.
Valerie Mitchell. What's happening, Valerie? Get that camera angle right. She's like, I just can't.
Brian Adams,
right.
You think he can sing? You think Brian Adams can sing?
Brian, I don't think this guy can sing. I don't think he can sing, man.
All right.
We got a good group here, man.
Happy Fisher? Interesting. Hey, Happy.
Happy Fisher. Brady
Sean
Falcone.
Rust is here.
By the way, that's a badass name.
Who?
Brady Falcone.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, man.
Sounds like he should be on like that. What's that show Stallone's in now?
Tulsa King. I love Tulsa King. By the way, if you love the Tulsa King, put a 1. I like Tulsa King. I mean, it's bubblegum for the brain, but you know.
It's it's one of those ones where I see the trailers, during the football games.
Yeah.
And I don't watch TV, and I am so tempted to plug in and start watching that.
Yeah.
And if I do it, I'll be fixed and I'll waste all my time.
Adam says, good show, Mike. Mario Salerno.
There you go.
Cool.
What else?
That's about it. I've been traveling a little bit, doing a little business, but other than that, life is good. We're moving.
We talked about that.
We're downsizing.
Your wife sold your daughter's house. Sold your daughter your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
nice,
wife,
that's nice of you.
My wife sold our house from underneath me.
At a steep discount, I'm sure.
We gave her a price she couldn't refuse, an offer she couldn't refuse. But yeah, we're good. We're good.
I see the Reese cup on here. You know that's the #1 candy sold anywhere.
Reese's what?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, peanut butter cups.
And I never,
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Goofy research.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't have either.
Just like I wouldn't have guessed somebody would put in Good and Plenty.
Good and Plenty.
Yeah. I mean, it's like.
So the cool thing about my house, Victor, when my kids were growing up, my son was allergic to peanuts.
Oh.
So Daddy got all the Reese cups.
Okay.
We'd be sorting through his. We didn't give my kids those fancy bags.
Did you?
We gave him pillowcases.
Did you tell him he had an allergy just so you can get the candy?
No, he had an allergy. It still exists to this day. He's 37.
Love it, man.
But no, appreciate y'all participating in the chat. There's Adam McIntosh. He's given a side profile job. Look at that.
I say Brady Falcone says no, it's not Falcone. It's Falcon, dude. Falcone was cooler. You should have gone with that one.
You're missing an opportunity.
Yeah,
like
you
Tony
messed
Dorsett.
up.
Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
Change your name to Falcone. Ben Johns is just completely disinterested in what we're talking about.
Yeah. So is Aubrey Miller. I see you, Aubrey.
All right, let's get going. Can I share some results with you?
Do we have numbers?
We have great numbers.
Are they good numbers?
We always have great numbers.
Excellent.
Always have great numbers. I sound like, I don't know, I sounded like
You sounded like Trump there. Good numbers, really good numbers. How good? Really good. Like, man, it's so good. Incredibly good.
Stop. No politics, Victor. No politics, please.
Go.
Just get me in trouble. Get me in trouble at home. Get me in trouble all over the world. Instead of sharing month-to-date numbers, I thought what I would do is I would share the first 3 quarters numbers with them, Victor, so we could get kind of a feel for where we're at year to date, because we're in that fourth quarter time that's awful important to the company. And the football games, they raise the 4 fingers through the fourth quarter, and we're getting after it. So results through the first 3 quarters are absolutely outstanding. Local commercial sales up 13% year over year. Keep talking about it. It's just a trend. Since COVID, we've run a double-digit commercial sales increase since we bounced back out of that, and it just continues. You guys and gals, continue to beat the drum. $104 million local commercial sales, bonkers. Team sales up 25%.
Wow.
25% year over year. National account sales, the ones that, without the team sales are the ones where the account managers work with hand in hand with the national account folks. Up again, 25%, 32 million. And true pure national are up 23% as well. So when you roll it all together, our commercial sales as a company at Orkin are 166 million, and they're up a whopping 16%.
Nice. Wow.
We ran about 13% last year. 16% this year. It's just bonkers.
Just beast numbers.
We talk about it all the time. Yeah, just outstanding work by all y'all out there.
What do you attribute a lot of this growth to? When you look at the numbers.
We've talked about that, and I think there's a couple pieces to it. Number one, we have added more boots on the street. We have more account managers today than we did last year, so they're going to get a little lift there. Some of the newer folks take a while to get up and running, but there's a piece of that. The other piece that I think is really important is that these folks are doing a much better job of bundling. Pulling services together, not just selling a single service, adding a small fly, adding a large fly, adding some rodent, exclusion, some of that stuff to all these deals, and we're getting better and better at that all the time.
Nice.
We've introduced a whole bunch of new products this year. Some of the scent services, while they haven't taken off and skyrocketed, those are sales we didn't have last year. We have so much more to sell than we did even last year. All these introductions of these new products. That's built that value. And our average price is just skyrocketing. Average price in a lot of markets is up 25% over what it was last year.
That's a huge number.
Where they're just bundling, not that single service pitch.
Yeah, I like the fact that, you got the 25 on the upsell, the bundling. But also, you've talked about this many times in the past. The more products we sell them, the stickier the client will be, the bigger, the longer the lifetime value of that client will be.
Yeah, and again, our cancellation rate, even with this crazy, tremendous growth, you would think that the cancellation rate would go up, but it's hovering right around 1% company-wide. People just don't, when we get our hooks into them, they don't leave us.
Wow.
Our pros are just delivering crazy good service.
Yeah. Do you guys measure, when you look at customer lifetime value, you measure it over a certain horizon, number of years. Do you guys have a number yet or not really? That's
too deep for just the sales knuckle dragging guy from Youngstown.
Yeah, okay.
But no,
how many years they stay with us?
On average, the commercial customer is going to last about 7.5 years.
That's pretty good.
It's really good.
That's really good. Did you know Starbucks has a 20-year horizon on customers?
Really?
Yeah, 20-year horizon.
Meaning what?
In other words, when they calculate customer lifetime value, they say, how much will this one buyer buy over the next 20 years? And that's how they calculate customer lifetime value. So, for example, in Rollins Orkin's case, it would be 7 years. What do they buy over 7 years, on average, and calculate the customer lifetime value.
How many services do we upsell them? Those kind of things.
Yep, the total value at the end of those 7 years.
Pretty cool.
So they use a 20-year time horizon, if you can imagine that.
Yeah. The other thing that's very impactful, what's going on, and I don't know if it's a great thing to talk about, but our competition is struggling, Victor. We had this whole thing with Rentokil and Terminex come together a while back.
Right.
They're still in this state of, I guess, turmoil or chaos to where they can't figure out what's going on, which end is up. And there's folks on this call that left those companies that I see their faces out there because of that, just that pure chaos that's going on over there. So they're struggling, leaving more opportunity. I've shared many times over the past 6-8 months that there's no better time than we have right now to be in commercial sales at Orkin Pest Control. In the 120 plus years of our existence, you're here at the right time.
Yeah, when I worked for a telecom company years ago, we were buying at one time at like 2 or 3 companies a month.
Yeah.
And we're trying to absorb these companies, and then as salespeople, we'd have to sell those products. What we noticed is that you can buy a company, it can look like a logical fit, but integrating them one, was very difficult. It is chaotic. You know, people are stepping, there's a lot of egos involved, so a lot of territory stepping is going on. And while that chaos is going on, your competitor, in this case, our competitor, was taking business from us.
Yeah.
So you guys are in a good situation. While that chaos is going on, let's go grab some business.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, when you consider Terminix and Rentokil were two of the bigger players,
Right.
you know, in the commercial scene, you know, with us and Ecolab, and they came together, and that chaos is going on. We're getting a lot of their people coming to us.
Oh, yeah.
And again, just strike while the iron's hot. You know, I'm not saying you go follow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't do this, but you go follow the Rentokil truck and the Terminix truck around, and just pop into the customers after they've had, because they are struggling, folks. They are struggling.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
all those things added together.
We did the same thing. When we absorbed the company, when we bought the company, and we knew that other competitors were struggling, and we would get some employees like you're getting it from like Terminix, Rentokil, we would actually interview them.
Yeah, debrief them.
Yeah, to debrief them. Says, all right, where are they weak, so we can go take some of their customers.
Amen.
You know, and that's the way we did it.
Yeah.
And we grew the business.
So, you know, eventually, like I tell people all the time, they're going to figure this out.
Yep, they'll figure it out.
They haven't yet, but again, strike while the iron's hot, get after it, chase it down.
Good numbers, though. Great numbers, though. That 25% is impressive, though.
Super strong, super strong. In addition to all those great company-wide numbers, we had a really nice number of folks make that 75K club where they get paid on 75,000. We give number one $500. We give anybody that gets paid on over 75,000 picks up a $100 gift card, and we have that list. What should we do with it?
Roll the video.
Think about them apples.
Bruce Scott.
Or falling leaves.
Or falling leaves. That was a nice video.
Nice little fall theme.
You know, it's not like the cicada video, but yeah, it'll work. Oh. Yeah, that's an inside joke.
There's marketing folks on this call. They just took notes that you're not going to be invited back.
Yeah. By the way, Bruce Scott, local boy.
Yeah, he was on the broadcast probably about a year ago.
Okay.
Where he made a big sale, you know, and he said, if I sell over 100, will you put me on the broadcast?
Yeah.
And at that time, their office was here, remember? So we drug him in here just for a little photo op.
We should, by the way, we should put him on the podcast, the Red Zone podcast. We should interview him. What do you think? He's local.
I don't know.
Yeah.
$290,000.
That's a nice nut.
He's probably got too much commission to bother with us.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need to talk to him. Great
but look
numbers.
at that, Robbie Rubin in Riverside, $263,000.
Nice.
Two people over 200 grand. We had 6 over 100.
Nice.
I mean,
great numbers.
Again,
by the
y'all
way.
know how the commission scale works here. It's the same for all of y'all. That's
you got Jesse Jolly, one of my favorite names. Jesse Jolly's in there.
Jesse's there. I saw Gloria shouting out the whole West Coast. Gloria, one of the managers out there.
Jesse, James, Brian Aragon. Where's Chris Pierce is Auto, Orange County. All right, way to go, Chris.
He's the GOAT, as you know. He's the guy that, I don't know, Chris, apologize. I think it's 32, 33 straight President's Clubs. The greatest commercial salesman ever at Orkin.
Okay.
Bar none.
Is this like official? Do these guys have plaques outside somewhere?
No, we talked about that when we talked about Kennedy. But if there was a Hall of Fame, Chris would be the unanimous vote to go in first.
Really?
No,
okay.
No question.
I don't know what this one means. Aubrey Miller says, Holt Smoke Robbie. Well done.
I don't know.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's in all caps.
Yeah, He's in his own head.
Maybe holy smoke.
He's in his own head. There he goes. I'll be meant to say.
Hey, so cool. There's a bunch of new folks on the list, which is pretty cool, right? You know, typically this list is dominated by veterans or folks that have been there before. But Everett Learned, I'm going to screw these names up, out of Kansas City, is on that list at over 100.
Nice.
You got Norlin Tasato out of Tyler, Texas. Randolph Witherspoon out of Chicago. Jeffrey Stevens. Did I screw the name up?
No. Randolph Witherspoon. Sounds like some guy on a white horse. Hi.
I'm going to move on, Victor. In addition, we have Rich Landy out of Austin Commercial.
Randolph Witherspoon. I sell pest control.
And we got Victor Leon out of San Fernando. All first-time players for me.
Nice. I like Deborah Paccioni. The patch is always in there.
The patch is back. Yeah,
the patch is back. She's like in there.
Third or fourth in the company this year.
Jordan Bosmany, what happened, man? What happened?
He's still number one.
Still number one?
Still number one.
So he took a month off is what we're saying.
So, again, Portland to Miami to Boston to L.A.
Yes.
Doesn't matter where you live, folks.
Nice
and all
numbers.
these places in between are hanging up these $75,000 paid months. So
were there any deals in here that stand out to you that maybe somebody brought in a certain
Bruce
contract?
had that big one. I don't know what Bruce was a big prison system again. They've had a lot of luck with that. Pounding that stuff through.
So he's still milking that one a little bit,
no,
right?
It's a new one. It's a new one.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my understanding.
Okay, so
again, I don't get down into the details on it, but and most of these folks that have these big sales, these big numbers, they're team selling a lot with national accounts. A lot of those folks have had deals like that. So
nice.
No, just outstanding.
Great numbers. Congratulations.
So, ladies in the house, we had 5 of our ladies in the house. Starting with, I just saw Kim Drew on the phone or on the call. Kim's over $100,000, 108,000. Working Terry Workman's in there again. Tara Workman, Danielle Coover, who's there a lot. Norlin Tasato, again, a new person making that list.
Goes by Nori, by the way.
Who said that? Did she put that in the chat?
Yep.
Oh, sorry about that.
Not this chat.
Oh, the last time. And then Patch out of Chicago, just getting after it. Just super cool.
Yep.
Great results. And again, 500 to Mr. Scott and 100 to all the others that made the list. Amazon gift card. I'll probably push those probably not tonight, probably tomorrow night. I'll push those gift cards out to you, so those will land in your inbox. What else? Anything else?
That's it. I think we should get to some content.
Yeah, let's get to some content. So this is going to be interesting. I want to talk today, Victor, about becoming a subject matter expert and how you go about that. I've got some tips and tricks on what I've witnessed over the last couple of weeks on how I think they can get after that. But talk a little bit about, you're a big one on, you do a lot of nice stuff on subject matter experts, how to become that and what the impact of that is. So share a little bit with the folks on how that, what your thoughts on that.
So when you look at the sales process, I always said there's a universal sales process. The first part is empathy. The second part is education. The last part, empower them to make a buying decision. The part in the middle, the education piece, is where you position yourself as a subject matter expert. Here's what's happening in the market. I get this question a lot. Why does it matter? Well, it's obvious why it matters. Because you know it, you're more confident. But don't look at it from your perspective because you know the subject, you're more confident. Flip it a little bit. What customers are looking for today is for you to give them the confidence to make a buying decision. So when they come to you, they typically come to you for 3 reasons. One is they want you to confirm, like, hey, does this do this? Does this do that? That's confirm, right? Sometimes they need clarification. Can you explain that a little bit? But the third part, and the most important part, is confidence. They come to you to give them the confidence to make a buying decision. In the commercial realm, if you think about it, if I want to switch over to a new vendor, new provider, I need to be confident that if I do switch over, change for whatever reason it may be, that you can provide the service. So I want to emphasize that subject matter expertise matters for you personally, individually. It gives you more confidence when you present. But what customers want is you to give them the confidence to make, let's say, a switch over or buy more.
Yeah, and if you think about what these folks do for a living, right? I mean, they're in the takeaway business. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, they're knocking somebody out when they're earning new business. So I mean, that's just vitally important that they get a grasp of that.
Because you think about it, right? Sometimes people don't want to switch over because it's a career. It could be a career killer, right? 2, they have a limited budget and they have to work within the budget. So again, they're thinking, what's the real effort? We always talked about, remember the iceberg? We've talked about this. Above the iceberg, you see 10% you see, right? Yeah. The visual below the iceberg is all the resistance, why they don't want to buy, all the hesitation. Our job is to remove those hesitations. Beyond the feature, benefit, advantage, what are some of the hesitations? And I think when you're a subject matter expert, you can literally jump over price, if I can say it like that, when they know that you can deliver and make the transition smoothly to a better product or service.
100%, 100%.
Yep.
To build on that, and how do you become a subject matter expert? Right? Well, become a subject matter expert, right? I mean,
that's a great question.
Said, right? Easily said. How do you do it? I want to share an experience that I had a couple of weeks ago. I was invited up to the. I got to get this right because there's so many acronyms and we've blown out so many regions. The Midwest Commercial East region held a sales kickoff, a fall kickoff. And all you region managers and leadership out there, if you're not doing fall kickoffs, you're crazy. So I was invited up there to hang out with these folks. And Victor, for like 2 days, they just did great content. They did stuff on prospecting. They did stuff on new product introduction. They did really good stuff. They did stuff on how to use the Boss Sales module. They did all the right things in the training. They had a room full of, I think it was probably pushing 40 account managers. But the most important thing that I took away from that is what they did in one of their sessions. So what they did in one of their sessions, they brought in 2 branch manager trainees who had spent time as technicians and had spent time as service managers and have now promoted into the BMT. A couple of them are moving into positions as they open the branches the first of the year. But more importantly than those 2 guys, they brought in an OrkinPro. Guy's been running his route for about 7 years. And they brought in a service manager, a recently promoted service manager that had run his route, had been an OrkinPro for almost 10 years. So they brought in the folks that are out there doing our work, right? And it was kind of like just a session where they just talked to each other, right? And they shared what an OrkinPro doesn't like about what you salespeople do out there, right? And it was just an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
It just
sounds like an intervention.
But maybe it should have been an intervention. But the value in that was just that they got a chance to hear it, firsthand, and they did it in this group setting. And I was surprised how open the account managers were, and how frank the pros were. So they got into all that. And I've always talked about the difficulty that we have in these sales service divides, I guess, that exist sometimes. And they exist. And walking in, I probably walked into maybe 200-300 branches in my time here. You can tell almost immediately if it exists.
Okay.
So these guys came from Columbus and they came from Detroit commercial, where it doesn't exist. These folks all get along.
Right.
So they just shared some of the tactics and talk a little bit about that. I guess that wall that's up for our salespeople.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to,
I was going to ask you, how do you sense that though? When you say you walk in and you sense that there's a like a divide,
the salespeople are hanging around in the service office,
right?
And they're talking to the techs.
Okay.
They're conversing. They're communicating.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it all becomes communication when you try to simplify it down. But it was so intriguing that they got into all this stuff and they shared because you're not going to have a healthy organization if you don't have that communication.
I think, by the way, that's one thing, like when we went virtual, that's one of the things we've missed, is that there's something, magical is not a good word, but there's something that's really cool that happens when people are in the same office, and you can just wander into a tech's office, for example, and just sit down, have a little chat, talk about the games, whatever it may be, and then we talk business. I think that's something you can't describe, but you can feel that when you go into an office, that there's that type of melding. Everybody's comfortable going in each other's office. I love that.
Yeah, and one of the things that came out, which I've been preaching to everyone that would ever listen, if you're not attending the service meetings as a salesperson, you are just you're missing such an opportunity. At the end of the day, I've shared it again numerous times. If you have a relationship with your OrkinPros, we don't really need branch managers. We don't need service managers. If you have a relationship with the 2 or 3 folks that do your work, you don't need me. You don't need me because you can work that out. You can have your own little company, your own little business essentially, and just work amongst yourselves. And some of the things that they shared, kind of not their complaint, not their complaint department, but one of the things that they shared that disappoints the pro was when they get a start and it's just sent over and we send a biz suite over and it's got a graph. But there's no detail. There's nobody talking to them. There's no communication before. You just ship it over there and they get it. And maybe it says that you're supposed to have 8 bait stations, and really they're supposed to be 12. So what they developed in Columbus is they developed a start log, and they're going to push it across the whole region to where it's very detailed on what you need, who you need to talk to, why they came to us, and here's the equipment that you need to do the job right. Something as simple as that miscommunication makes that pro look bad.
Yeah.
When they show up there and they say, well, you're supposed to bring 3 fly lights. Well, I only got 2 on my list.
Right.
So just that bad start
that
makes
miscommunication.
makes them look bad.
Yeah. Let's talk about in the Red Zone podcast we did with Jordan Bosmany, right?
Yeah.
Talk about, remember that story he told? I thought that was a good story.
Yeah. So Jordan Bosmany, the guy that's #1 on the list right now, we did a podcast and we did a poor job of launching it because it was sent out this week and hardly anybody saw it. I'm going to send it out myself tonight, and we're going to read. One of the struggles that we had when we did 4 of these podcasts was how to release them to the field, and we need a mulligan on that because we didn't do a good job of it. We're going to tune that back up and get it to you. You'll get it in your email tonight to be able to click and listen to Jordan. But when he talked about it, he said when he went out on a start as a younger guy trying to figure out the business, he went out on a clean out. He had priced it, whatever, $175 an hour or whatever, figuring it was going to take 2 hours. And he said, I showed up there at 1:30 in the morning and I left at 6 a.m. So he got a new appreciation for how that works, and understanding that and having working side by side with the pro. If you've got a start going and you get lucky enough to sell a piece of business and you don't show up when they're doing the start, I mean, you got to move mountains to try to be there. I understand you can't be there every time, but if you're not there, hand introducing that OrkinPro to the client and explain everything that goes on so there's no miscommunication, you're missing a great opportunity to get referrals and to build that relationship with that OrkinPro.
I think what I loved about that Jordan story was that when he thought it was only 2 hours, but then it took, what was it, all day or something like that? It was something crazy. It happened to me. When I sold technology, I thought it was a simple install of 2 days.
Yeah.
And the engineer's like, no, Victor. And again, I decided to do the install with him. Well, he suggested strongly I go visit. We spent a whole week doing that. And what I got out of that, Ed, is that you realize all the nuances of what goes on in an install. Similar to what Jordan experienced. You go, oh, I get this. But it also, getting back to the topic of subject matter expert, you become more informed. That means your conversation with the client now changes because you've done the whole process. And that's why I loved when he said that, because that's like getting in the muck and getting your hands dirty.
Amen.
Yep.
And if I could use that term and steal that term, suggest strongly that you go out on every start that you got going. Let's try to do that. A couple other things that came out of the conversation that we had with the pros in there was, we all of our salespeople all chase customer concerns. So customer concerns, explain it to you, as a list that's produced that, customers keep getting problems. Maybe they've had 3 rodent callbacks, 3 small fly callbacks, all these kind of things. And one of the pros just put it up perfect. It was Cameron Mobin that was there, and Ryan Driscoll was the guy that just got promoted, the service manager. These guys were OrkinPros for 7-8 years. He said, you know what I hate? I hate when you guys go out, you just kind of cherry pick the customer concerns list to see what you can upsell, and you go out there without talking to us. And when they said, and I'm thinking, why would anybody do that? But the salespeople in the room are like, we do that.
Yeah.
So we see the customer concerns, their boss is on their tail to get an appointment. I'm going to go run the customer concerns list and make appointments, but they fail to talk to the most important person there, and it's the pro, right?
Right.
So maybe the pros already suggested some stuff that they didn't buy yet.
It makes you look bad, doesn't it? It's like when there's this communication, it makes you look bad. It makes the company look bad.
Yeah, so I guess the advice from the pros was, if you're going to chase the customer concerns list, pick up that phone and call the pro and say, hey, Victor, I see, the customer concerns, they got mice down there. Would you mind if I put another set of eyes on it for you? And it
takes another 30 seconds, 1 minute, even on a copy on an email if you're going to send it via email.
Absolutely.
Same thing, just CC the person on there.
Yeah, do something. And again, they had that start log that I thought was really cool. It was just great conversation. Now, they had a region sales meeting to do this in, right? And they brought the pros in. But what's to prevent you? Obviously, region managers, region sales managers, I strongly suggest you do a meeting, with all your salespeople on a more regular basis than, that we do these whiz-bang once-a-year things, right? So we come in and we say, hey, okay, we're going to do a big sales kickoff. But man, they did one in the spring. They did it with the other region up there because they just split that. But they did their own, and it was very impactful. I talked to a couple of guys that are here in Atlanta today, the region sales managers here. He said, man, the lift we got out of that a couple of weeks ago is just incredible. So I encourage you to do that. If you can't do that, what is preventing you from putting your OrkinPros in front of your sales team in San Diego as they're gathered as a group? What if a couple of pros came in and just, told you where the rubber meets the road and where you're hurting them, where you're making it difficult, and how we can make it better? And you just think about that. So I would encourage you to do that, because I think it's that important. And so in the chat, it's got a couple of folks, Adam's putting it in there. How do you try to, not ingratiate, but how do you work with your pros to build that relationship? So just post a couple things up there in the chat. that you're using to make yourself more effective with them. And while you're doing that, we went back into the archives a little bit. We went back to where Mike Palermo was either the region sales manager or the branch manager in Atlanta Commercial. And he sat down with Scott Brown, one of their President's Club techs. And the cool thing about the pros and the folks that were in the meeting in Chicago, these guys are all President's Club winners. And these branches, Chicago Commercial, or I'm sorry, Columbus Commercial and Detroit Commercial, do a couple things. They send salespeople to President's Club, and they send a lot of OrkinPros. So that divide that, oh, you can't, there's no argument. Yeah. They just split sales openly and willingly, share some commissions, and get it right because they will all win later on.
Yep.
So this piece of video explains the relationship that exists in Atlanta Commercial. Stormy?
Wow. And again, that branch has a phenomenal culture, a people culture there. Talk to me a little bit about your relationship with the account managers, being an OrkinPro.
So we have a great team of account managers on our branch who partnership with us. A lot of times being an OrkinPro coming back to the company, we're a whole lot busier than we used to be, and we are growing great, and our branch is phenomenally growing. So I have a great little get on my phone, and I can, hey, listen, I've got a little opportunity, would you mind? And they are always taken, and you get in there and I'm introducing them to the customer. That just brings another set of, I don't know how you put it, to somebody else, another set of eyes for me, but it's also another relationship that they can take and then grow that. So, as an OrkinPro, I'm a little limited on, going outside of, this hospital to another hospital where the account managers can do that more, freely than at me running around again.
Sure, and I think they obviously appreciate your interaction, and our account managers are always looking for something to do. So
True.
Helping.
And building a relationship with your account managers is just like you do with your customers. They have to trust you and you have to trust them. And once you find that trust and you have a certain level of trust with your customers, they already know me, and now they know the account manager, and they're more willing to help out.
Well, it's a win-win for everyone,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Thoughts?
I love that. The last line about the relationship you have with your customer should be the relationship you have with your tech. It's a beautiful line because it makes sense. We put more time in this relationship with the customer than we do with our tech sometimes, and we shouldn't do that.
And that's the lifeline to success. I think anybody that's out there and getting after it understands it. I mean, Adam Humphrey, he hangs all kinds of President's Club plaques, and he feels that way, right? So he knows that that's the road to success.
Yes.
I think the other thing that comes up too is if you think about the two different jobs, the OrkinPro doesn't need you. He woke up October 1st with the full slate of work, probably more than he has capability of getting done because of the way y'all been growing the business. You woke up April 1st or October 1st with nowhere to go. With nowhere to go. And so that whole adage, you need them more than they need you, I think just resonates here. So by gosh, work on your relationship. And if you've got a fractured relationship with the pro, like you did something stupid, you underpriced something, or you overpromised, and you put yourself in a bad spot.
Say you're sorry and go fix it.
Because you have to control that. You have to fix that. Because they're not going to come looking at you like, hey, Victor, everything okay with that? They don't care.
No,
You're out of the picture. So.
When I used to sell, I used to always take care of when I started out in engineering, so I learned how to work with salespeople. Then I became a salesperson, and I realized you got to take care of your engineering folks. Yeah. By the way, also your customer support people. And so I think you got to work that angle on both sides.
Yeah, and what's so cool about it is that the two BMTs, Chris Toledo was one, and let me get the name right, Ryan Driscoll, or I'm sorry, Kenny Schock was the other. Very, very seasoned OrkinPros. I mean, Chris Toledo has been to President's Club, I think, 7-8 times as a pro. Got the promotion to service manager and got after it. And now he's gonna run one of these new branches they're opening January 1. So he understands that whole relationship, that whole aspect, and he's not gonna let that get screwed up in his branch.
I love that.
It's just gonna work. So
should we get everybody a shirt that says hug a tech pro lately?
Pro, what tech?
Just pro.
Eliminate that tech word. We don't
use tech. We don't use tech anymore.
Some marketing firm in Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
But by the way, it was named Radius City again, Victor.
Chicago?
In case you were wondering about it, your home base. So in addition to that.
Yes.
You talked about the Jordan Bosmany podcast that we screwed up. Frame that up just so they understand that a little bit.
So the podcast, the Red Zone podcast, is us interviewing the top performers. And my job is to try to extract all the best practices from them. The first one was Jordan Bosmany, and some of the content we got there was fantastic. I mean, the interview was great. All 4 interviews that we have in the pipeline are great. So I'm looking forward to you listening to the first one. We're going to do 4 more after this.
Yeah, and what I want to tee up to kind of pull all this together is the importance of the relationship you have with your branch managers and your service managers. And it comes from none other than Albert Lechleiter. You know, guy's got gold jackets all hanging up in his room.
He was impressive.
Yeah.
I was, you know, because he reminds me of Where's Waldo, you know, without the cap. And I'm like, okay, this might be an interesting, you know, interview. Yeah. He was fantastic, man.
Yeah, just
he was
super
fantastic.
Cool. And he talks about starting slow and struggling and not understanding it. And this is how he became a subject matter expert.
Can I just emphasize, one of the things I like, he talks about his mother and how she, you know, basically helped him get going. But that whole, I hate to use the word vulnerability. He wasn't afraid to say, I don't know, I need help. And that's what came through in the interview, and that's why he's kicking ass. Can I say that, kicking ass?
Yeah, you did. So it's too late. You said it twice, actually. You said it twice, so we're good to go. So here's a clip from Albert's podcast that's going to be, it'll be out in a week and a half, and we'll do a much better job of promoting these. These things are about 50 minutes long. I encourage you, I've watched them all like 3 or 4 times because I'm just that way. Spend the time. There are bullets and nuggets every couple seconds.
Yeah.
So here's Albert.
When I was first starting, it would kind of look like this. I mean, this was just me being dumb. But I would call a service manager and I would ask him every question I can think of about the ant that I was about to go see or about the bed bug issue. And then he would luckily, you know, take his time and train me and tell me it all. And I would regurgitate it right away before I forgot it, you know? Right. And so that still happens. I still call folks and I go, hey, what are we doing? Cause you know, California is kind of tricky with our regulations. So, hey, what are we doing for ground squirrels now? Because they canceled this product out, and what's the new product? And of course I'm, you know, about to start driving to the ground squirrel property. So I'm hoping he picks up because that's the answer to the question I need. And they're still, you know, very, very good about picking up and answering those questions for me. So on the service segment, I mean, those guys are amazing. And I have not had any service managers that aren't willing to share with the sales guys, because, you know, the sales guys, you know, there was a while there where the culture, I'll be 100% like with you. The culture was kind of segmented where sales and service, and they did not meet. And they did not necessarily in certain areas get along. And that is gone, at least where I'm at. And we all meet, we all get along, and we all kind of respect each other. And so now they're very willing to help us. And of course, we try to do favors for them too.
Nice. Every single interview I did, all 4, one thing, the common thread, the red thread that runs through all of them, is that they all said, I picked the phone, called somebody, and they were more than willing to help. Yeah, every single one said that.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but I know when we showed that again, because I knew that was your takeaway.
Yeah, that was
that the help is there. Go get it.
There's no reason. I mean, it was, you know, sometimes people just say things just to make it sound right because it's towing the corporate line. But no, you could feel it when they said it. I was confused, especially the Jordan Bosmany one. He really just, he went into self-deprecation mode, and he was he the one, I think it was the one that they told him he shouldn't be in this business. And then he got a second shot at it, and he had all that hate fire, like, I'm going to show them. That, to me, that's one of the most motivating podcasts. Yeah, it's amazing.
Amen. Yeah, so that Jordan's coming tonight. Yeah. Albert's coming in like a week and a half. Let's get some housekeeping, get these folks out of here so we can get on with our day. November 1st, they're going to do the commercial division is going to do a combined broadcast again, kind of a campaign where they're going to share some new rodent stuff, some new rodent exclusion things. And some of the stuff that they're going to share is stuff that I didn't have a whole lot of familiarity. I know that we had it out there. Again, I've been doing this for 40 plus years. You know, some of these rodent repellents that we're starting to move into, I knew they were out there. I didn't understand them. They're going to break down all these exclusion services as stuff that we're offering now for our commercial customers that, you know, it used to be put some tin cats inside and put some bait boxes outside. There are so many more opportunities to sell other things. And this podcast or this broadcast will introduce you to those. And we will reset the Subway National Team Sale opportunity. Again, that's going to come to you November 1st, and it's going to be at 8 a.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Eastern. They're going to do 2 broadcasts to cover the country, so make sure you tune into that. The other thing is we move into this fourth quarter, you know, it's fourth quarter time, you're dialing in your commissions for 2025. If you don't really completely understand your pay plan, get with your RSM, get with your branch manager, because this is go time. This is where you can take your commissions from 15 all the way to 20. If you understand what you start in 2024, dials in that commission on December 31st for everything in 2025. So don't miss that next level up by $1,000 sale. You know where you're at, get a target on it. Heck, I'd do a countdown on it. I have a board somewhere in maybe on my shaving mirror that I'd have a board where I knew how close I was, because you don't want to miss out on 1% or potentially 2%, for all of next year. Kind of not a sad note, but Jerry Galoff sent a note out yesterday, Victor, about, contributing to the Rollins Relief Fund with all that's gone on.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it, most of the morning, about all the stuff that's gone on in areas typically, with these hurricanes that hit the east and the Midwest. It's typically areas that don't get hit. We had an OrkinPro have his house completely eliminated in Asheville, North Carolina. So that fund has been hit with a lot of requests. There's a lot of money going out, and what we want to do is try to bring some more in. So my only ask is, as we get out of here, Stormy's going to post up the QR code. Scan that thing on your phone. Pick your contribution up by $1 a month. If you've not signed up for payroll deduction, see if you can put a few scruples out there. Each paycheck, it won't hurt you. My ask is, if you bump it up $1, that'd be great. You can donate directly. You can put a lump sum in, or you can even go through PayPal and put some money in there. But we got a lot of our family and our teammates that are really struggling with this, and we need your help. So anything else to close out?
That's it.
No, just keep bringing it. I mean, it's been outstanding first 3 quarters, and
congratulations
again,
on
fourth quarter. Yeah, congrats on that.
Yeah.
And let's just close this bugger up and tighten it up.
All right.
See y'all. Thank you.